AI is flooding the internet with content. Most of it is really bad, and some of it is so good that we can't tell it's been created by an AI. The irony is that some of the world's biggest brands and AI promoters, Google, Meta, TikTok, and X, all rely on user generated content to earn their billions. And yet, AI is destroying their business model. A lot of businesses also rely on this business model, placing their advertising in and amongst the content and the search results. And there's endless marketing advice on how to get your ads seen on these now threatened platforms. What happens when AI gets better, more real, and eventually indistinguishable from human created content? If the big platforms and their business models go the way of MySpace, print newspapers, and terrestrial TV, then what happens to all that content that you and I make? Will AI destroy marketing as well as the internet, or will it save it? At the moment, AI output doesn't actually need to be very good. Blog posts, news articles, emails, summarizing documents, none of this work is critical. After all, most of what is already being done by humans is frankly pretty average anyway. So it's easy for AI to show up and match it, or just be slightly better. The point is that a lot of internet content doesn't actually need to be good, or engaging, or even make sense to be effective. Social media posts, blogs, and articles all feed into search engines and AI algorithms and give them something to index. Filler content is designed to do one thing, and that is perform well in Google search results. People click on it, they see an ad, and often that's an ad placed there by Google itself. This is what SEO is all about, and it's the murky bit of SEO that's been floating around for ages, and it's what clogs up those Google search results and makes them feel, well, a bit rubbish. The business model behind SEO is simple. The more you show up in searches, the more visitors you get to your webpage, the more revenue you make by showing them ads. It doesn't matter if the visitor reads the content or not, the view just has to register to get the revenue from the ads provider. Up until around 2 years ago, this process took time and human toil to create. With AI, this content can be created on an industrial scale, and search engines have become flooded with spam content that's hard to distinguish from human-made content. And it's not just written content. There are AI-generated images. There are TikTok videos of random footage with an AI voice reading text from Reddit. And there's swathes of nonsense videos on YouTube for kids. In a recent podcast by Ezra Klein, he said, "The internet has felt like it's in a state of decay for a while. Google search results, YouTube, X, all of it felt more human, more delightful and more spontaneous just a few years ago." So what is happening to these huge gatekeepers like Google, Facebook and YouTube that built their empires on user-generated content as they become flooded with AI content? How do they adjust when they themselves are often the ones creating the AI bots that make the content that is destroying their own business model? The platform business model relies upon users finding and interacting with the best content so that those platforms' recommendation engines can then show that to more people, which gives the impression of delivering the right thing to you just at the right time, be that content or answers to search queries. The aim of this is to keep people scrolling. The longer you're in the app, the more opportunities there are to place ads in and amongst the contents, which often lead to a transaction, such as a form fill or a purchase. If we add AI into that mix, creating a potentially infinite amount of content, then that model breaks down. We already have more supply than demand. More content is being made than will ever be consumed. And if you add AI to the mix, well, the system simply can't keep up. The issue here is that the platforms can't stop this from happening. Google and Meta's stock price now depends on them developing AI models that can create content, answer questions, and chat with humans. This means that they have to build and funnel money into the very thing that is destroying their business model. So what can we do about this? Well, at the moment, AI content is at its best okay. But what about when it's not? What about when it improves? AI can already fool most people on a phone screen. In chat messages, it is almost impossible to tell apart from a human. Content-wise, there's still a way to go, but that's where the investment and the money is right now. And let's face it, the bar to meet is not that high. Most internet content is mediocre, so AI only has to be a little bit better than that. The underlying question for me is whether it matters if your content was made by a human or an AI. I believe that content made by a content farm or an AI bot, stuffed full of ads and not really serving anybody, is one of the worst aspects of the internet. So what AI is not good at, and might never be as good at as humans, is new ideas. If you look at TikTok dances or video styles that become popular, they're copied. And the reason for that is because AI is optimizing for videos like this. The result? Everything starts to look the same because everybody's just copying each other in order to win at the social platform. The more AI makes content, the more homogeneous it will become because it will just start copying itself. And when everything looks the same, well then nothing stands out. As we've discussed before on the podcast, the key to standing out, to attracting attention, is to have a new idea, to start something new. And that's where showing up as yourself and not copying others, sharing your own ideas and concepts, really starts to set you apart. Now you might be thinking, Simon, this sounds really overwhelming. I just want to hide in a cave and wait for this whole thing to just blow over. And that is understandable, but it's not that practical. The need to be different, to be original, is both scary and exciting. But I believe the key is humans finding and seeking connection with other humans. If you try and make content that replicates what AI wants you to replicate, you're just going to be the same as everybody else. If, however, you show up in a human way, doing your own thing, sharing your own ideas and generously, it will set you apart, and you will attract those humans seeking other humans. You've been listening to the Reframing Marketing podcast with me, Simon Batchelor. If this episode has got you thinking, press follow so the next episode will automatically appear in your podcast app as soon as it's released. In my book, Reframing Marketing, I dive deeper into the podcast topics and offer a fresh perspective on marketing. It's a 3-step guide to practical and ethical marketing for coaches, consultants, and anyone who is marketing themselves and their work. You can order your signed copy directly from me at reframingmarketing.com. Until next time, happy marketing.